Hello everyone. Welcome to Lify Life, Emotional Burnout, How to Recognize It in Time and Deal Effectively. Have you ever felt that you are on the limit and ready to explode because of any little thing? If you're nodding your head, chances are you're experiencing burnout right now. What is emotional burnout, how to avoid it, and finally allow yourself to relax? Last year brought us a lot of events and, unfortunately, not the most pleasant ones. Most of the plans, ideas and desires collapsed in one moment, and in their place came experiences and constant stress. Many of us have abandoned the old life and have been trying for more than 1 month to get used to the new realities. If you constantly experience tension, fatigue, loss of vital energy and a desire to hide from everyone, this is emotional exhaustion or burnout, and this problem definitely needs to be addressed. Emotional burnout, exhaustion, what is it really? Burnout is a state of psychological, mental, and often physical exhaustion caused by prolonged or repeated stress. Such exhaustion reduces work productivity, worsens the quality of life, and does not allow you to enjoy even bright events. A person loses all interest in life. Every new day is similar to the previous one, and I don't want to change anything. That feeling when it seems like the only right decision is to stay in bed and go to work next month. The problem is that even if you take a few days off and really spend them on vacation, the situation will not change. The World Health Organization, WHO, has recognized that emotional exhaustion and overwork at work can be considered a disease. So if you want to deal with burnout, the first thing you need to do is learn to recognize it. The most common symptoms include attention and memory problems. Emotional burnout can make it impossible to focus on what is happening around us. Hypersensitivity. Exhaustion of the emotional type is often accompanied by irritability, tearfulness, sentimentality, which are replaced by anger or indignation. With emotional exhaustion, it is very easy to piss a person off. Any little thing can deprive him of self-control. Low level of motivation. Emotional burnout is constantly accompanied by pessimistic thoughts, which lead to a lack of enthusiasm not only to work, but also to perform everyday activities. In women, emotional exhaustion is often accompanied by a lack of desire to take care of themselves. Visiting a beautician or a hairdresser seems uninteresting and a waste of time. Physical fatigue. Emotional exhaustion eventually leads to chronic physical fatigue. Many note muscle weakness, fatigue after a long sleep and a constant desire to sleep. Decreased empathy for people. With emotional exhaustion, you can notice not only the appearance of tearfulness, but also a completely opposite emotion, indifference, for example, to loved ones or your own children. If you're experiencing most of the symptoms listed above, you're most likely suffering from burnout that won't go away on its own and needs to be addressed. How burnout happens. According to recent research, emotional exhaustion is caused by constant worry and anxiety. Both phenomena are associated with an excess of stress that accumulates in a situation when we move from one problem to another without giving ourselves a moment to rest and recover. In addition to the main signs of emotional exhaustion, there are factors that can lead to a similar condition, for example, lack of deserved recognition or reward for good work. Unreasonably high expectations, both from oneself and from others. Performance of monotonous or uninteresting work. Life in a chaotic environment or with frequent stress. Lack of close, supportive relationships with family. Too many responsibilities without sufficient help from others. A pessimistic view of oneself and the world around. Constant stay in the role of victim. The need to control everything, including the unwillingness to delegate tasks to others. It's not hard to experience burnout these days. Many people seem completely exhausted, overwhelmed, traumatized, and constantly subjected to inflated expectations from others. So what can be done to change this state of affairs? How not to bring yourself to the brink, or in a simple way not to reach the handle. Here are some useful tips. Be sure to take a couple of minutes and take note. How to counteract emotional burnout. Some tips. 1. Let yourself relax. Without a doubt, one of the main things you can do for yourself is give yourself a moment of peace. No matter how much you still have to do and how busy your day is, find 30 minutes for yourself. This time should be as pleasant as possible for you. 2. Filter the sensations coming from outside. We live in an overactive world where we are exposed to too many sources of stimulation. Our mind constantly receives new information, emotions, feelings, and they do not always have a positive aspect. It happens that we focus on one unpleasant moment and constantly scroll through it in our head. Therefore, it is important to learn to separate temporary unpleasant chores from serious problems. As for work moments, turn off notifications on your phone that can distract you. Do not waste time chatting and arguing with colleagues. When you rest, similarly, disconnect from work and do not think about it. There is a time for everything. Do not mix rest with work. 3. Be realistic, ask for help. Emotional exhaustion is not the flu, which can be cured with a standard package of drugs in a few weeks. Such burnout can continue for months and years, eventually turning into chronic depression and even psychiatric illness. If you realize that emotional exhaustion prevents you and your loved ones from living, if you are unable to help yourself on your own, it's time to ask a specialist for help. A therapist can help you identify areas that are contributing to your burnout, suggest strategies for coping with excessive stress, and ways to reorganize your life to improve its quality. From time to time, each of us feels overwhelmed by the responsibilities, problems, and stress of everyday life. However, if the feeling of weakness does not go away, and only other disturbing symptoms join it, it's time to start restoring your mental health. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe for our new content. Click the bell sign to stay in contact with updates from us. Hope seeing you back on Lify Life.